Hi there, my name is Eli Pironkva and I am a former D1 player. I'm currently coaching tennis to people of all ages. So today I have prepared a very good intermediate to advanced level tennis practice with the ball machine. So what we're doing in this tennis practice is we start with 60 brand new balls in a ball machine and we run each segment of this practice with these 60 balls. So the first segment of the practice, it's flat forehands. We play 60 balls with flat forehands. Then the next segment, it's 60 flat backhands. The next third segment of this practice will be slice and spin forehand for 60 balls. Then we have slice and spin backhand again for 60 balls, and we are finishing off with 60 balls of volleys and 60 balls of serves. So this is approximately about an hour and 15 practice in real time. I have recorded for you, and the recording will be about 30 minutes or so. I hope you enjoy it. There is a lot of good information there for anyone who's trying to improve their game and it's looking for practices to do on their own. If you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot to grow this channel and make it better. Okay, start the practice now. I'm starting this practice with one box of balls. It has 20 cans. In each can we have 3 balls, so 60 balls total. I will be pouring these balls in my ball machine, and after that I'll be setting up my ball machine and we'll go on the other side and play. I try to set a ball that's deep and pretty powerful. Right now the ball machine is set only on forehands, and this is how I start my practice here. So I'm starting with 60 flat forehands, and I also am doing placement. So the placement is forehand down the line, forehand cross court. As you can see, I'm working my feet pretty hard. I'm trying to bend my knees when I'm hitting, or actually the first thing that we need to talk about here is how we set up for forehand down the line versus forehand cross court. So the setup for forehand down the line is a neutral stance, and the setup for forehand cross court will be semi-open stance. For each of those stands, I try to bend my knees and come up on the ball, and at the same time really lean in my upper body on that shot. So the ball that I set up, again, it's pretty deep and a little high, if I have to be honest, but I do try to hit the ball off the bounce. If you can't hit off the bounce, you can hit it on the rise, which will be early enough to lean in your body on the ball. In order to set up your body to receive a ball this early, you really need to work your feet and do small steps for the adjustment. I can't stress more on that. This is kind of one of the biggest errors I see in players who are intermediate. They make big steps to the ball. If you are looking at an advanced tennis player, you're gonna see that their setup is of very small steps. You may have to run, cover more court with the bigger steps, but when you're setting up to get in a stance, you are using very small steps, and they will precisely take you to where you want to hit the ball. The spacing here, as you see, I have a good amount of space between me and the ball. This is what you want for both shots, cross court and down the line, to have a good amount of spacing. You don't want to have your elbow close to your body. You want to keep it away, which really helps with everything else, like leaning in, leading the ball, and also closing it. The reason why I like this drill so much is because it's a drill of changing direction. It is pretty difficult to do that when you play, especially when you receive a ball that comes from the diagonal. To hit it down the line could be pretty challenging. But it's a great thing to work on, and also if it is too difficult for you, you can always do maybe 30 shots down the line and then do 30 shots cross court, which is also amazing practice. These practices are, pretty tiring towards the end because the ball machine's kind of, going pretty fast. But I promise you, this is something that will give you good results because it is repetition, and repetition, it's difficult, but it really helps with making your shots feel natural and not having to think about them every time you hit a shot. So I'm almost done here, and I'm moving on the backhand side. So here's me on the backhand side. I'm starting with backhand down the line, backhand cross court. Again, the ball is pretty deep and also high, and I have made it challenging like that because I want to work on these deep and high balls that players with good topspin will give to you, and I don't want to move too far back to receive them. While you may make a few errors when you're doing that, it is a great practice, and sooner or later, you will have more consistency if you continue working on it. So you see here for the backhand down the line, I'm in a neutral stance, and for the backhand cross court, I'm trying to keep semi-open stance. When I'm taking my hands back, I'm also taking my leg back, and that also really helps with stepping into the shot. You can't really step in on every single shot, it will really vary, but when you can, it really makes difference, with power and also control, because the step in will affect the shot that you're hitting, and it will give it direction. So you also kind of have to be careful there. As you can see, if you twist too much on that backhand down the line, your ball will go wide towards the fence. So you kind of need to gauge that and make sure that you're not twisting too much. Again, see footwork, a lot of small steps. I always recover. I have what I call like a little dance in between the shots. You never really want to stop your footwork until the point is over. Actually, you have much better reaction to any shot if your feet are working. So in many intermediate players, I see that they hit a shot and then they either walk or they just kind of like stand still. We really want to avoid that. You do not want to stand still. You always want to move. And honestly, yes, it does take a little bit more fitness and you do get tired. But if you practice it, if you go out there and practice it a few times, you'll get used to it, and it also creates a very nice rhythm to your game, because it's, sometimes the energy, when you are leading with higher energy, you are leading the game. If you're someone who is not moving much and it's kind of slow, you're usually following the other person's energy that it's leading, and you never want to follow the other person's game or energy. You want to be the leader. Obviously in long matches, they're like, you could be in that situation where the other person is leading the game, but again, the goal is for you to lead the game. So here I'm hitting very flat. I made it a goal for myself to hit flat on this drill. I wouldn't necessarily hit flat every shot like this in a match, because again, this ball is coming very deep. As you can see, it bounces just before the line. And it's difficult to hit flat every time, but again, I'm trying to win time. I'm trying to stay aggressive for this particular drill. And off to the next one. So the next drill I'm doing is forehand cross court slice, forehand down the line slice. And then I'm doing forehand cross court top spin, forehand down the line top spin. So these two variations of forehands, they require two different grips. So forehand slice requires continental grip, and a forehand spin or windshield wiper will require Western or semi-Western grip. So there is a grip change here in between shots, which could present a challenge. If this is too big of a challenge, you can always do maybe 30 balls of just slice, and then just 30 balls of spin on your forehand side. I like this drill because I'm working on variety of shots, and they do require a slightly different preparation with the footwork. As you can see, when I'm hitting the slices, I'm not really opening. I'm staying within the stance. You just kind of like stay there. You don't open, because opening would mean to change the direction a little bit, which when you play slice, a lot of the directions come from your wrist. It is a wrist shot. Obviously body position will dictate the direction to a certain extent, but you can kind of always alter it with your wrist. When we are hitting the spin shots, my goal is to hit a very high and deep ball that bounces high. So that's the idea here. And then when I'm hitting forehand slice, I'm trying to keep that ball low and linear, and I don't want it to be bouncing higher. So in a sense, these two shots are very opposite. They do the complete opposite things. And as you see, again, the footwork, it's pretty intense. You never stop. This never changes really in tennis. It is a kind of very important message. I feel like I see a lot of high school players or beginner players that are technically perfect. I see that their technique is so incredible, but then their fitness, it's not there, the agility, it's not there, the footwork, it's not there. So there is, in a sense, a lot of work that needs to be done, that it's not necessarily hitting shots. It's kind of always nice to look at some of the greatest players and their fitness. Someone like Djokovic, who has impeccable fitness, but also someone like Alcaraz, who has so much explosive power. He can literally run so far and hit a super aggressive shot, which is extremely difficult to do, to basically be barely catching a ball and hitting a winner. But that can happen because his legs are enormous. He's worked, he lifted weights, and he's very well prepared. Okay, we're done here. Off to the other side. Okay, so we are doing backhand slice down the line, backhand slice cross court. This bow, again, is very deep and high. In general, I would probably not hit it slice, but again, I'm trying to challenge myself here. And for backhand slice and also backhand spin, you'll be using the same grip. Backhand slice, it's obviously a one-handed shot, but you will be using continental grip for that shot. You're not using the regular Eastern, like backhand Eastern grip that you would use for one-handed backhand. So you're using a continental grip, And then for the two-handed backhand that it's spin, you are also using a continental grip on your right hand and eastern grip on your left hand. Okay, so I'm trying to place the ball cross court and down the line, changing the direction, changing the shots. Again, if this is too difficult, you can always, you see, I'm going like way back so I can meet that deep and high ball, and it is pretty challenging. But if this is too much for you, you can always step back a little bit or make the ball a little bit shorter with your ball machine. And honestly, the ball machine, it's such an amazing asset because the repetitiveness of hitting the same ball really helps you solidify that shot. So let's say if you have to work on backhand spin shots, you could receive, I mean, even if you have, I think this ball machine can do up to 100 balls. If you hit 100 balls of backhand spin shot, odds are that you just got a little bit better on that shot. It is like that, you know. So that's why I'm kind of promoting this sort of practice, because I've seen the results. So the backhand, you know, top spin shot or windshield wiper shot is in nature a defensive shot, which you would usually play when you receive a deep and high ball to kind of defend yourself and reestablish your position. Because what usually happens, you would hit a deep and high ball back, which gives you a little bit more time, you know, to set up and get ready for to return the shot of your opponent. And you know, the backhand slice shot, as you can see, could in a sense be defensive shot, but it could also be a shot that really sets you up if someone doesn't like hitting low balls. This is such a great weapon, and trust me, there are a lot of tall people who can't really bend their knees as much, so it is a great thing to hit a slice. And if they can hit a slice back, it will be very difficult for them not to just yank the ball up, which obviously gives you an opportunity to move in and you know, attack a high ball that is in the middle of the court, that would usually result from someone who can't really return a low slice. Okay, so I am about to finish these 60 balls on the backhand slice and topspin side, and I am moving into volleys. So I'm starting this volley practice on the forehand side. As you see, I have put some cones that are a short cone and a deep cone in the both angles. So I will have a forehand cross court volley, a forehand cross short angle volley, a forehand down the line volley, and a forehand short line volley. So I'm trying to mix it up. You know, when you are up at the net, you would hold only continental grip for both sides, and here I'm also trying to work my feet a lot. I try to split step in between shots, which is also very important. I also try to hit the ball as early as possible and step into it. Okay, so here obviously I am hitting in 4 different directions, but again, if this is too much for you, you can just pick one. So now I'm receiving the ball on the backhand side. Same thing, I'm hitting the ball in 4 directions, holding that continental grip, working my feet, and trying to split step in between shots. So one of the questions I often get about volleys: what do I do if my ball gets under, you know, under the net, if I have to retrieve a volley that is low? And my answer to that question is you have to bend your knees lower and still keep the racket head above the handle. At the moment you drop your hand, it will be very difficult. Some people are very good with the wrist, so they can flick it. But to be safe, try to keep the racket head above the handle at all times. Here you see on the backhand side, I'm hitting some pretty aggressive volleys. They're all like flat, and the aim of the volley really is to finish the point. Once you're up at the net, you kind of really want to look for that outing of the point. You want to finish it because you're in a sense in a vulnerable situation. People will always try to pass you or lob you, so you kind of have limited opportunity to close up the point and take advantage of the fact that you made it up at the net. Okay, so I'm done with the 60 volleys and I'll be doing the serve next. Serving. So serving is one of the most difficult things you do on the tennis court, and it's also like very mental because you're actually not retrieving someone else's ball. You are tossing your own ball, and if you don't do a good job, it's on you. This is your one opportunity on the tennis court to really set yourself up for success. So I always emphasize on how important it's the ball toss. It is actually individual for each players. Some players will like it at 12 o'clock, some players will like it at 1 o'clock. These are the most popular tosses for players who are hitting flat serves. Obviously the grip is continental. I grew up serving with the pinpoint stance, where you bring your back leg to the side and you lean in on the ball. If you watch a lot of professional tennis on the men's side, I think the majority of players are actually using the other stance, which is called the platform stance. And both stances have their pros and cons. Again, I'm just so used to the pinpoint. I can do both, but just I think I have a little more control with the pinpoint. So here I'm serving on the deuce side. I'm trying to hit one out wide serve and one serve down the tee, and I'll try to do that for about 30 balls. And then I'm gonna switch sides. As you know, this practice is based on 60 ball bucket. So it is very important that you bend your knees a little bit or a lot before you serve. Again, if you watch professional tennis, you will see a lot of the professional players really bending low, and that also has to do with physical fitness, because the bent low really allows you to jump up on the ball when you're serving, and it provides an amazing power. So I do have a quite powerful serve, as I am a relatively tall person, and that really helps my game. So the high contact point, it's really important for the explosivity of the flat serve. Another important thing is the jump inside the tennis court that you again see a lot of professional players do. So you would jump inside the tennis court and you would lift your back leg up. Again, with a lot more explosivity that I'm showing you here, but this will do for an intermediate player if they want to improve their serve. So I am wrapping out on the deuce side, and I'm about to move for the next serve on the ad side. So here on the ad side, kind of about the same challenges present. It is not very different than the deuce side, and it is the ball comes in a different angle. So this is the one difference. Usually each player has preference which side it's easier for them. For me, I have little tricks on each side that I like to do. but they also have to do with the ability to mix up the serve. For the flat serve, it's pretty straightforward. So you can see here that I'm also alternating. I have a little console on each side of the service box. I am serving out wide and down the tee, and I alternate the serves. If I know that people like to focus on one thing at a time, and if this is your thing and you're at that stage of your you know development where you really just want to do one thing and focus on it, please do that. Again, repetition will really help you. Serve is extremely boring, and it's one thing that people don't want to train. Juniors, especially high school players or intermediate players, it's very difficult to keep your mind focused. So when you don't have a ball moving back and forth, a lot of people find it difficult to have your thought focused on the task, in this case serving. So what actually really helps to keep your focus while training your serve, it's having rituals. So one of the rituals, it's the number of balls that you take from the bucket. Let's say I take 3 balls every time. So every time you select 3 balls, then you serve 3 serves. You try to have kind of like a mental spot up in the air where you want your ball to be when you contact it. Another way to engage your brain, and a lot of people do that, including Novak Djokovic, is the bounce. So you can bounce your balls. A lot of players would have, let's say, I'm doing 3 bounces or 4 bounces before I actually serve. And this really helps you to set up that mental routine where you're not thinking about when you're gonna do your laundry, what are you gonna eat, what are you gonna do after the practice. You are actually kind of immersed in that ritual, and your head is busy with completing the ritual versus you thinking about something else and letting your brain wander. Okay guys, so this was my practice. I hope you enjoyed it, and I really hope that I was able to help you and guide you through a practice that you would like to do. If you are able to do a self-practice like that a couple times a week, I am sure that you improve and you enjoy playing tennis much more. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel.